Hey everybody, it's Qui-Gon here back for a new video. It's been quite some time since I've talked to anybody. Oh, quite some time. Now, let's get into it. I want to talk about RPG ADD, not finishing your role-playing games, why it's happening to us, and if it's a real issue, maybe? Before I do that, I realize that this is probably a bit of a revitalization video, so thank you and welcome back. Also, I just want to thank the guy over there. There he is. tpackart@gmail.com. This gentleman did a commission for 2 of my Dungeons & Dragons characters that you see on the screen, and I'm just using that as a bit of a backdrop while we discuss role-playing game ADD. So, again, welcome back and thank you. What is RPG ADD? Role-playing game ADD is when you love role-playing games, they are your favorite type of game. There's so many beautiful ones out there, but for some reason you don't finish most of them. It's kind of a problem. So if I take a look at my Steam list, I can see that I have approximately 200 games. I can also see that about 80% of those, so 160 let's say, are role-playing games. And then I count how many I've finished. It's about 5. It's about 5. We've got Pillars of Eternity 1, Pillars of Eternity 2 I stopped. We've got Tyranny, we've got, what else have we got? We got Witcher 3 and Deus Ex 1 and maybe a couple more. So what's happening? Why do I have it? And why am I thankful that I have RPG ADD? Okay, here it is. I'm getting pickier about my role-playing games. For me, role-playing games on my computer were a substitute for the first bit of RPGs I ever played. So the first bit of RPGs that I ever played, excuse me while I sip this amazing coffee from this amazing mug. What a gift. Cheers. Role-playing games started for me. I played a Palladium, that's the name of the company, pen and paper role-playing game called Rifts. And it was a steampunk sci-fi fantasy world all mixed in one about far in the future. These giant magical ley lines are all over the place, and where they cross, giant rifts open up and monsters from all kinds come through. Some friends that were really good at improv and that were really addicted to dice and pen and paper got me into it. Now, previous to that, all I ever did was read some fantasy novels. And I was like, well, I get to play in these fantasy novels. Let's try it. And I was hooked. The freedom from pen and paper RPGs is that you get to do some pretty cool stuff that is not limited by guidelines or the rails of a role-playing game on a computer. You don't have a dialogue tree of only 4 choices that sort of end up at the same place anyway. You can do just about anything. And the most fun part, for me, is throwing off the guy who created the world, the dungeon master, the game master, whatever you want to call him. Throwing him off, surprising him, taking it for a turn that you didn't expect. And on the other side, now that I'm actually dungeon mastering, the other side that I enjoy the most is creating a world that shocks your players. Shocks them in many ways, maybe bringing some of their backstory into the fore of your world at a time they weren't expecting it and in a way they weren't expecting it. It's all about the unexpected. Sure, there's cool battles. Sure, there's amazing art. Sure, if you have a really good imagination, you can do some pretty cool stuff. But that really isn't what brings it hands above. That's really not what brings it hands above a computer role-playing game for me. It's mostly the imagination. But the hard part about pen and paper RPGs is you got to get 4 or 5 or 6 people in a room together. And as an adult, when your friends are all over the world and when you have working schedules, it's a lot harder. Thanks to things like Critical Role, the tool sets that are out there for the internet, like virtual tabletops, as we'll explain some of them later, but like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, and I'm sure there's some other ones out there, Tabletop Simulator, you can now play with people all over the world. You can see each other's face through Discord. You can do the dice rolling in front of each other on the virtual tabletops. And if you have the books or if you have tools like D&D Beyond, you've got access to everything and you don't have to worry about putting people in a room together. The problem with this is that getting back into pen and paper role-playing games, it kind of kills the story for actual computer role-playing games for me. So I pose this question to you. Are you playing both? Are tabletop role-playing games killing the story in pen and paper RPGs for you? So I'm going to attempt to do something that no man has done before. Well, I don't know, maybe someone has. There's probably someone out there. One of you guys maybe will make a comment and I'll be proven wrong. I want to finish all my role-playing games. I want to finish every single one before I buy another. So that's what I'm going to start doing. We're going to start doing some Let's Plays on the channel. I occasionally will talk about D&D and reference D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, because that's my favorite type of role-playing game, and I'll probably compare the bunch. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Don't forget, if you want to look into getting your D&D characters commissioned, or if you can draw them up. It's actually a lot of fun putting some kind of visual to your characters. That's about it, guys. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you for checking out the channel. I'm going to start my Let's Plays probably with Pillars of Eternity 1 and the 2 DLCs that I haven't finished. I finished the game, not the DLCs. And maybe Witcher 3, same thing. Finish the games, not the DLCs. All right, have yourself a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.